What's up, beloveds? We are back at it again. I'm Najee, the founder of Everybody's Juice. This show turns your biology, beloveds, into power so you can own your energy, your focus, your sleep, your sex drive, and most importantly, your longevity. If that's your lane, beloved, subscribe, tap the bell. We drop a blueprint every week. So strong erections start in your nose, beloveds, not in your pants, fellas. So let's have this grown man conversation today. So your libido isn't luck, right? Like it's a signal, right? So erections aren't magic. It's circulation. It's poetry, beloved. And the switch that increases that circulation lives right here, beloveds. So your sinuses make a molecule, which I'm sure you have heard me talk about, nitric oxide, NO for short, right? So when you breathe through your nose, that nitric oxide mixes with your inhale, right? And it tells the blood vessels to cool it down, relax, right? And it helps oxygen actually get delivered. So translation, beloveds, better flow equals better sensation equals longer, firmer, stronger erections, right? So when you mouth breathe all day on the couch or snoring at night, you skip that chemistry, beloved, and you live like in a gear of stress, right? So you've seen it. Like you wake up, dry mouth, foggy, flat, like that's the tax that you pay, beloved. You wake up clear, warm hands, easier mood. That's nitric oxide doing what it's supposed to do. So today we're mapping the play, beloveds, why nose breathing raises nitric oxide performance, right? So when your sinuses are, let's think of it this way, like think of your sinuses as a vault for chemistry, right? So let's do this in plain English, right? So hold a finger for every yes, right? So do you wake up with a dry mouth or a sore throat most mornings, right? That's if you do, leave one finger up, right? Next, has someone told you that you snore a lot, right? Like, or you start breathing at night. Hold up another one. And then next, is your nose blocked most evenings, right? Or clear until you lie down? I'm getting somewhere with this, beloved. Stay with me. On a light walk, on a light jog, do you go straight to mouth breathing, even when you're not winded or even when you're not tired? Hold up another one. And then we have to talk about this. So during the day, do you catch yourself with your lips open, tongue out, tongue low, chewing air when stressed? Hold up another one. Does your heart rate spike? Does it go up faster than it should on just simple tasks like going up the stairs or one set in the gym? Hold up another one. Are your hands, feet often cold when the room or the environment isn't, beloveds? Hold up another one. And then our morning erections, beloved, morning wood, is that less frequent or softer than what they should be? So count your fingers, beloved. If you have a couple, one or two, then your airway rhythm is likely supporting nitric oxide well, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, 3 to 5, beloved. So you're leaving nitric oxide on the table, right? So your breathing habits and sinuses need a little attention, beloved. It's a little TLC. If you got all fingers up, beloved, all 8 or 6 to 8, your system is waving a flag, beloveds. We'll fix habits, but loud snoring and, choking, like high blood pressure, all of that deserves a sleep evaluation, beloveds. So stay with me. I'll show you exactly how the nose sinus nitric oxide pathway turns breath into blood flow, beloveds. So you just did the self-audit. Now let me tell you exactly what's happening in your body so this feeling of like mysterious just stops, it fades away. So why the nose matters, right? So I know y'all probably thinking I'm tripping, but your nose isn't just a hole for air blowing your nose, beloved. It's equipment, right? So inside the cheeks and the forehead, right, are these small air pockets called paranasal sinuses. And those sinuses make a gas, which I just said is nitric oxide, right? So think of nitric oxide as a tiny open up signal for blood vessels and airways. So when you inhale through the nose, a couple things are happening at once, beloved. Number one is the airflow swirls, right? Like it's swirling across the sinuses, opening up and picks up that nitric oxide to be utilized. And then also like the nose warms and humidifies the air so your lungs can use it without irritation, without getting in the way, right? And then pathways create a gentle resistance, beloved, like breathing through a small straw, right? So that keeps tiny air sacs in the lungs open a little bit longer, beloveds. So more contact time equals better oxygen transfer. So better oxygen plus a little nitric oxide, beloveds, in the breath means that the blood leaving your lungs is a little bit more richer and more calmer. And that matters later when you want the blood to go where it needs to when it's time to bump and grind, beloveds. So nose breathing supports both, right? So you bring in a touch of nitric oxide and you set up the endothelium cells to behave and respond how they need to, how they're supposed to, right? So an erection isn't a mood, it's a reflex with plumbing, right? So when you feel safe and turned on, right, like your rest and connect system, right, that parasympathetic system that sits inside your nervous system, it sends a signal that says, yes, I'm ready. Like nerves in your penis, like they start to release nitric oxide, like regularly without no pushback, right? So that nitric oxide increases a chemical called silicate GMP. And this is the stay open message inside of the smooth muscle of like the penile tissue or the clitoral vessel, right? So that's the muscle that relaxes blood vessels, like it widens tissues to send a signal for blood to just keep flowing, beloveds. And then there's also an enzyme called PDE5, which you all have heard me talk about, right? So that clears out silicate GMP. So in a normal response, your body makes enough nitric oxide to outpace PDE5 and keep that door open. But here's the link back to your nose, beloved. If your baseline oxygenation, right, and nitric oxide are better because you breathe nasally all day and at night, that same arousal signal lands a little bit stronger. So you didn't change who you are, you changed how clearly the vessel system can answer. And this applies to women and men, right? Like the vaginal tissue also relies on nitric oxide to be engorged, right? So more flow equals more glide, more sensitivity for the ladies, and more pleasure, right? And sensitivity for men too. It's the same biology, but just in a different anatomy. So here's why mouth breathing backfires, beloved. So like mouth breathing skips like the chemistry and the stresses of the system, right? So no sinus nitric oxide pickup, right? So air goes straight to the throat, dry and cool. So less nitric oxide in the mix, less help for those tiny airways, right? And that means less efficient oxygen transfer. And then dry air irritates tissues and pushes the nervous system towards fight or flight mode, right? And that takes you out of your zone of being in the moment, right? And being in that state, like it tightens blood vessels, like the opposite of what you want for arousal. And then more importantly, right, like at night, mouth breathing is combined with things like snoring and many arousals, right, that you just basically won't remember. So you might have slept, but you didn't get like good, deep, stable sleep, like good REM sleep, right? And deep sleep is when your body restores hormones and vascular tone. So broken, fragmented sleep, beloveds, equals lower testosterone in men. Like that affects your mood and sensitivity for women as well, and a higher resting heart rate that carries on to the next day. Don't want that, beloveds. That's a no-no. And if your nose is chronically blocked by, allergies or, something might be wrong with your septum, like that's not a you problem, beloved. It's just mechanics, right? Mechanics matter because they choose whether your vessels hit open or close or hold, right? If snoring is loud, breathing pauses at night, or blood pressure is climbing through the roof, that's when we loop in a clinician for an airway check or a sleep study right away, beloveds. So fixing that airway changes the bedroom instantly, just like that, beloveds. So nose breathing sets the stage, right? Steady oxygen, a little bit of nitric oxide, calmer nerves. Your endothelium cells are healthier. They're moving how they're supposed to. When the signal for intimacy arrives, beloved, like everything starts to cooperate, right? Like mouth breathing steals that advantage before you even get to the moment. And you know the why. Now let's talk about like how this impacts you on a day-to-day basis. So like picture two dudes, right? Like in a gym doing RDA, goblet squats, right? So one dude starts, he's starting his rep by, mouth is open. By rep 5, like his heart rate is spiking. His shoulders are creeping towards his ears. Like his tempo starts to get choppy. That's the body sliding into fight or flight mode, right? In that state, blood vessels tend to tighten up and not open. That pump feels hot and shallow, right? So more burn, but less control because blood is being pushed around by stress and not guided by good vessel tone. You don't want that, beloveds. The other guy, right? Like his lips are closed, right? The tongue is on the roof of his mouth, right behind the top of his teeth. And this lifter feels like a soft palate. It keeps the airway open, beloved. Like slow nasal inhale as the hips unload. Like you have a relaxed nasal exhale. Like the heart rate is smooth. The core stays stacked. Like That steadiness lets nitric oxide and oxygen delivery keep up, right? So that pump feels a little bit deeper. So why this matters outside the gym is that the ability to keep blood flow like under control, beloved, is the same physiology that you need during intimacy, right? So when those vessels that open up on cue and they stay open, you want that, right? If you can hold nasal rhythm when legs are burning, you can hold it when you tear them skins up, beloved. You're in the bedroom doing your thing. So another example is sleep, right? So let's just say one night you fall asleep on the couch after Netflix, after, a couple snacks, whatever, your jaws drop, your mouth is open, you're snoring, mouth breathing, like that's drying the throat, and that lets the tongue fall back, stopping or kind of narrowing that airway, your passageway. So you don't remember the tiny wake ups throughout the night, but they keep kicking you out of good deep REM sleep. So you might have clocked in 6-7 hours here or there, beloveds, but you didn't prepare your body, right? Like you wake up the next morning and it's written all over your face. You don't have to say a word, beloveds. Dry mouth, foggy head, no morning wood. Now, let's flip it and reverse it, beloveds. Picture this. What about if your night went how it should, right? Like you powered down lights a little bit earlier, beloveds. Like you rinsed the nose to clear the nose out with some saline, right? Like simple salt water, like that clears like swelling out of your nasal pathways. And then you lie on your side with your head slightly elevated, right? Your lips are closed, right? Like breathing stays nasal all night. Your heart rate is running lower. Deep sleep stretches a little bit longer. You wake up earlier, clearer. Morning erections are back, beloveds. You about to put your girl's eye out. Same person, different airway, different nitric oxide story. You see where I'm going with this, beloveds? Okay, one more story, right? So after dinner, let's just say, and this is good. After dinner, you take like a 10-15 minute walk and you make it nasal breathing only, right? So the rule of thumb is 4-sentence pace. If you can talk comfortably, you're in that aerobic zone, right? Your vessels love, your blood vessels desire, right? So two things happen fast. Warm hands, right? That's peripheral vasodilation. So that means like your vessels, your blood vessels are relaxing in the skin and muscles. Nitric oxide is doing what it's supposed to do. Warm hands usually mean that the whole body, the whole system is on relaxed mode, beloveds. You're not in fight or flight mode. And then move, right? You're in an easier move. So nasal rhythm, like it pushes the parasympathetic system, which is like your calm and connect mode, right? Like you feel less edgy, less tense, and more available for the moment, beloveds. So by the time you're back at the door, right? Like you're not wired, you're not sleepy, you're present, right? That's what flow feels like, right? Like blood vessels are open, heart rate is even keel, smooth, like the mind is quiet. The same nitric oxide that made that walk feel good sets the stage later on for stronger erections and more sensation. So, same lifts, same hours in bed, beloved, same walk, but different breathing, different outcomes, beloved. When the nose leads, nitric oxide and oxygen delivery follow. Your body shows up in the ways you want it to, beloveds. So, we opened up talking about performance and, how it feels. And we're closing talking about power, beloveds. Control. There's a version of you that does not hide from what he knows what he's supposed to do, beloveds. Embrace that side. So, a couple things. Your breath is the first pre-workout and the quietest bedroom supplement, beloveds. So think of this tonight or whenever you're watching this. I don't know where everybody's from, right? But picture tonight, right? When the house finally goes still, you dim the room, close your lips, beloved, your tongue rests on the roof of the mouth, and you let 3 slow nasal breaths stack on each other, beloveds. Feel how the noise just quiets out, it drops out. Like that's your circulatory signature, like responding to the body, beloveds. So tomorrow, you carry that same cadence into your sets in the gym when you get money in the gym, your meetings, like those intimate moments, right? Like the present starts to compound, right? Like respect for the body reads as desire in the body, beloveds. So remember, these are all small changes that lead to gigantic results, beloved. If you felt this, let me know if you have any questions in the comments, beloveds. Like subscribe, hit the bell. Like I said, we just getting started, beloveds. I'm enjoying coming on here and, speaking this and just having good conversation, beloveds. This is all my time to the next time, beloveds. I'll see y'all next week. Peace out.